Hi class, this is Brittany Art. Today our group will be presenting on capital punishment and emotion. Our focus is on how emotions, especially empathy, influence people's attitudes towards the death penalty. This topic is important because public opinions about punishment are often shaped not only by laws and facts, but also by emotional responses to crime and justice. Before we begin, here's an overview of what we will recover in our presentation. We will start with the background of the study, then discuss the hypothesis, followed by the methodology, including participants and procedures. After that, we will review the results, and finally, we will discuss the conclusions and real-world implications of the research. Public support for the death penalty has long been influenced by beliefs about crime, justice, and punishment. Researchers have found that emotional factors, especially empathy, can shape how people feel about criminal punishment. Previous research suggested that individuals who have more empathy may be less supportive of harsh punishments like the death penalty. However, there were limited studies directly examining this relationship, which led researchers to conduct this study to better understand how empathy influences public opinion. And this is the hypothesis. The hypothesis of this study predicted that emotional traits, especially empathy, would significantly affect people's views on punishment. In other words, the researchers wanted to find out whether individuals with higher levels of empathy are less likely to support the death penalty. This question helped guide the research and determine how emotions influence attitudes towards capital punishment. To conduct the study, researchers used data from the General Social Survey, which is a national representative survey of adults in the United States. The participants included men and women from diverse backgrounds, including different ages, race, education levels, and income groups. Researchers used random sampling methods to ensure the sample reflected the US population. The large sample size allowed researchers to analyze public attitudes towards the death penalty and levels of empathy more accurately.
Hello, my name is Oniah Loza, and I will be presenting the materials and procedures, the results, the conclusion, and the real world implications. Starting off with methodology, this study, researchers used data from the 2002 General Social Survey, which is a nationwide survey of U.S. adults. Participants answered questions about their levels of empathy, including their political beliefs and also their views on the death penalty. Empathy was measured using a multi item scale that looked at emotional responses to others, and researchers analyzed all of the responses using statistical methods to see how these factors were related. The results showed that empathy had a strong impact on people's views. Individuals with higher levels of empathy were less likely to support the death penalty, while those with lower empathy were more likely to support it. The study also found that empathy influenced other factors, such as political beliefs and racial attitudes, which also play a role in shaping opinions. Even when those factors were taken into account, empathy still had a direct effect on support for capital punishment. Overall, this study shows that empathy plays a significant role in shaping attitudes towards the death penalty. People who are more empathetic tend to be less supportive of harsh punishments. It also highlights that emotional factors are just as important as political or social beliefs when it comes to opinions about justice. These findings suggest that emotions, including empathy, should be considered when discussing policies like the death penalty. If empathy can influence people's views, then increasing awareness or understanding of others' experiences could potentially shift public opinion. It also shows that psychology plays an important role in political decision making and how people form their beliefs.